Hi everyone, it's George here. Hope you're well and having a great start to your day. And thank you so much for joining me in this live event, which is effectively about sharing what I've learned in my life to build a life I love getting out of bed for every day. And I just want to say at the start that this is possible for everyone. And a life you want to get out of bed for every day is not a life that doesn't have challenges or adversity. It's a life where you're present and you're handling your challenges with truth, authenticity, and self-responsibility. And so I'm going to go through how I got to these points, and so what opened up my awareness there is how bad my life got before I decided to make this conscious choice to build a life I love getting out of bed for every day. And through conscious daily effort, I've actually got there. And like you, I'm a dad, or I have a job, I have responsibilities and friends. Whatever challenges you face, I face every day as well. Whatever feelings you feel, I feel as well, because I'm a human being like you. What I don't do though is I don't avoid my responsibilities, and I don't let things escalate to a point where they become unbearable. And we're going to talk about how we deal with that in a very safe and confident way today. So I'll get off the bat. I'll just start with by saying that it took a lot for me to get to this point. I experienced anxiety, depression, then cancer, then complete disability. Then I went through a phase where I was so fat and unhealthy, I basically gave up on life. And I was on Freshwater Beach in Sydney. It was like midnight, and I just had enough of everything. And I remember looking at the water going, well, I'm still disabled. I'm sure drowning wouldn't be a bad way to get off this planet. Now, just off for the record, I wasn't depressed, I wasn't sad. I just didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to be on planet Earth, dealing with planet Earth life anymore. And I literally took a step towards the water, and then I stopped and thought, you know what, screw, I use another word, but for the folks of this video, I'll be polite with the words. I went, screw this. I'm going to redo life. I'm going to build a life I love getting out of bed for, and I'm going to do that authentically. And just that choice alone just filled my heart with a burst of energy and joy. I stood upright, and I just had a zest for life. And then I started working through the process. So how do we build a life we love getting out of bed for? Well, to start with, it's a conscious choice we make every day. And when you think about life's an experience. And if you're not enjoying the experience, why are you doing this? And what I realized through my own journey with recovering from severe disease, that nothing worked with. Modern medicine couldn't help. Taking a herb couldn't help. I had to work this out. Say, how do I change my cells? How do I create a healing state in my body? And part of that was expressing my life with truth and authenticity. And that's highly important, because the truth is what's real, and what's real creates our cell response. So if you're in a burning house that's on fire and you're telling yourself the house is not burning, you're going to suffocate, because that's reality. The house is burning. And so when we deal with our reality, we're then empowered. Well, how do I want to change this to something I want to wake up to every day? And I want to use this. There's really three things that make, for this purpose of this video, I want to keep it simple, sharp, to give you tools you can walk away with today. And that is that if you focus on your environment and your behavior, and you create a goal, something really meaningful that's difficult for you to achieve, I call this a self-authoring life. Choose something that is so big you want to spend a lifetime working towards. So, for example, for me, it's setting a massive intention for the world around health and fitness, right? And no matter what disasters are happening around the world and what's happening in my life, I come back to that as a focus, and I feel good about that, because I'm working away at that every day. It resets my mind. I feel good that I'm achieving something so challenging that I'm growing as a person. I'm growing my confidence, my grit, determination, and my wisdom and knowledge and awareness. Okay, so let's talk about the environment first. Our environment matters. And the environment you turn up to every day has to feel safe, joyful, and encouraging, and it's got to be supportive. And the way we create the environment is from the behavior and the way we interact with others, because an environment really is the energy created by the way we are with each other. And so the analogy I like to use with that is, if you go into a burning house, you can't live in that environment. It's not nurturing for life. And if you try to use positive self-talk and meditation, all these things, that's like being a fireman with a suit and an oxygen tank. It only has limited effect before it becomes useless, and you end up suffocating, or it doesn't work. And so you either put out the fire, which is change the environment, or you get out of that environment. You cannot live there. And we'll talk about how you change your environment. The other thing is our behavior. Our behavior matters. Our behavior actually affects our cells. So, and I'll explain this. The mind-body connection is real. Okay, so on a simple way, if you actually start lifting weights, that behavior creates a cell change. You get stronger bones, bigger muscles, and better cognitive function. This is all science-based. So the way you behave affects the way you feel and affects our immune system, our brain function, our mood, our energy. It all comes down to the way we behave. And there is behavior that no matter what's happening around you, if you're truthful and you're authentic and you take responsibility to deliver the outcome you want, you feel joyful. Actually look forward to that challenge. If you're lying or you're not saying something needs to be said, you hate that experience. So that's the other. So it's environment, behavior, and self-authoring life. That's what we're going to speak about today. So about creating a life you love getting out of bed for. So something else that I want to touch on now. We have a body for a reason. We have a brain for a reason. There are brain cells in our gut, our heart, and our head. You know, on planet Earth, during this three-dimensional human experience, you need to take action. Everything is manifested through effort. So action equals outcome, effort equals results, right? It's all together. You cannot manifest through thought. You cannot manifest through speech. You manifest through actions. Clear intention. This is my intention. I want to be strong. What do I have to do to be strong? I need to eat well and I need to lift weights. Fine. I'm going to start eating well and lifting weights. And if I'm consistent with that, over time, I become very strong. It's a very basic example, but that's how we manifest. And that's exactly how I came back from cancer. It's exactly how I came back from anxiety, depression. It's exactly how I came back from complete disability when nothing worked to help me. And it's how I reinvented myself in life. So I'm actually waking up to a life I love getting out of bed for every day. And again, to remind you, that's not a life without challenges. It's not a life without adversity. It's about how we handle those challenges and adversity. So our cells respond to that. And the mind-body connection is real. So if you think about, and the way that I talk about that is, if you think about, or the way that I like to illustrate that is, if you think about being naked and intimate with someone you love romantically, that thought creates a physical change in our body. Our heart rate goes up, the biochemistry in our brain, our body changes, and there's movement in our body. That's just what that thought does. So we cannot fake life, and we cannot avoid dealing with the conflict that we're not dealing with in our life. And if you're not expressing life with truth and authenticity, you will always have a hard day. Just how it works. Even the toughest days feel great when we're truthful and authentic. So let's talk about how we actually do that in real life. So when it comes, so the three areas of building a life you want to get out of bed for every day, it starts with our behavior, our environment, and there's many aspects to this, but the third one that I want to leave you with today is create a self-authoring life. Pick something that you truly believe in and start working towards it. For me, it's around this health and fitness incentive. I started that in December 2018, and even though I've had a lot of challenges, I'm a dad, there's things that pop up, I've been divorced, all these things have happened, I always come back to that, and it gives me a zest for life, it gives me a focus, and it's difficult for me to keep persisting, so I love that challenge. And I look forward to it, that challenge, working at it every day. So let's start with behavior. Now, our behavior does matter, and I'll point this out to right now. You can hit the reset button as many times as you want in your life, as often as you want throughout the day. Sometimes I reset a couple of times a day, so I don't like the way the day's going. I hit the reset button. Right, what am I going to do differently? I think about it, and then I start doing that different thing. We need to talk about truth. The truth is what's real, and what's real will always create your reality, right? It just does. It'll create your cell change, it'll create your environment. We cannot deny the truth because of an ideology. The ideology is not real. The truth is what can be touched, seen, smelt, and felt. All the senses, that's what's real. You need to work with truth. So if the truth is that there's someone in the office that's annoying you, you need to have that discussion with them. And again, focus on the behavior, not the human being, because the behavior is a choice. The other thing is around authenticity. Now, you have a body to experience your life. I have a body to experience my life. My body has my fingerprint and my retina. Your body has your fingerprint and your retina. You are authentically have your experience, and your body is like an antenna. It's always picking up on signals for you to make choices that align with what truly is for you in your heart and your soul, what will energize you. It's important that we express our life authentically and that we be our authentic self in our environment. And I get it. Sometimes I get told I'm too much for people. I'm okay with that because I'm not too much for the people that I'm supposed to be around. And it's not about being arrogant. It's about being yourself. Some people don't like my energy. I'm okay with that because I like my energy. And the people that love me love my energy too. So be authentic. So live with truth and be authentic. The third one is you need to deal with the conflict in your life. You know, I've found that if I don't deal with the conflict in my life, my mind will not leave me alone. It's at me the whole time, bang, 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 until I say to myself, right, I am going to deal with this, and this is the way that I'm going to approach it. The minute I do that, my mind calms down and I have a good night's sleep. And the next day I deal with it. My mind is always calm and quiet when I'm dealing with my life and I'm expressing my life authentically. The other part of the behavior is we need to build muscle. Now, the interesting thing about our body is that there's hormones that are manufactured within our body that make us feel calm, confident, and joyful. Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, and hope molecules. These hormones are triggered through behavior. And one of the best ways to trigger these hormones is through exercise and resistance movement. And so it's effectively building muscle and improving your fitness and vascular system and your heart health. Now, this is something we work on every day because those hormones don't last forever. If you do something in a day, you get a spike of those hormones. A few hours later, they've basically depleted. So it's basically the universal God, whatever you want to call it, nature. It's telling you have to be a proactive participator in your life. And this body is our vehicle to express our life on this planet. And it's much better or easier to express life with a healthy, strong, and energetic body that is full of happy, healing, confidence hormones. And we control that process, right? We 100% control that process. When I was 40, I was fat and disabled. Now I'm 48, I'm healthy, strong, and not disabled, full of energy and confident. When I was 40, I had very low confidence. Now I have very high confidence. And it's unshakable because it's built by doing difficult things consistently over time, like building muscle. The other thing is that in terms of the behavior side is to build a life to get out of bed for is look after what you eat. The food that we eat nourishes our body and our energy system and our brain. Now, I know that if I eat processed foods, I always feel foggy in my mind and I feel low in my mood. It's just what happens. You know, I feel it, really feel it. So I stick to fresh, real food. So stick to fresh, real food and stop snacking. Every time you snack, it disrupts your energy flow. So have your meal and don't snack until your next meal. That will help you have a better energy and feel better all day within your body. Now, if you feel better in your body, automatically you're having a better day. So that's the behavior side. Part of expressing our life to build a life we actually want to get out of bed for every day is having a healthy, strong, and energetic body, and that's how we do it. Do exercise, resistance movement to build muscle in your vascular system, stick to real food, and don't snack. And that alone will help you feel better every day. The other part is behavior truth and be authentic and deal with the conflict in your life. Don't let it escalate. And to give you an example, there's some conflict that I've let go now for a long time. I'm talking about years. And yesterday, it's been at me now for months. And yesterday, I thought I'm going to do something about this. So I started the process. And I feel so much calmer, more joyful since I did that. So that's part one, our behavior. Our behavior is definitely a huge part. We control our behavior, control the way that we think, we control the way that we act, and we control our behavior and our level of effort. And our behavior creates the outcome that we want or the reality that we want. The second thing is our environment. Our environment really, really matters. Now, I used to grow up, I once lived in a very fancy house with a lot of money, a lot of fancy things, and I felt so unsafe and I hated it every day. I once had a job getting paid almost $200,000 a year, and I hated every day. And they were not safe environments because the people I was surrounded with were manipulative, they were controlling, coercive, and they were abusive. Quite frankly, they were nasty, they were bullies. And so even though on the outside it looked great, on the inside it was destroying me. Now I live in an environment that is abundant, it has everything I need, the wealth, the food, the nourishment, the joy, everything I need is within this environment. And I built this by removing myself from things that are not meant for me, including relationships that are not meant for me. We're not supposed to be everyone's friend, not everyone's supposed to be in our life. We can grow apart from people, we grow in different directions, that's okay. Ultimately, my body is my antenna or my compass to see what's right for me. And when I removed, and I'll give you a great example, when I removed myself from that environment where I'm getting almost 200 grand a year, I was experiencing, for almost a year, anxiety. And I reckon I had depression at one point because I couldn't get out of bed. I had to talk myself out of bed. And as I'm driving to work, my body's doing this, trying to get me to go home. And then I got told I had cancer. And when I had cancer, I thought, well, I need to change things up. What can I do to help my body heal? And your environment matters. That was a big thing that stood out. It's part of the research I did. It said your environment actually matters. When I left that environment, my last day when I left that building, walking down the street to leave that building, by the time I got to the end of Martin Place, all the anxiety and depression was gone. I actually felt a complete cellular shift. And within 7 months, the cancer in my neck and chest had gone away. Isn't that incredible? The stuff in the abdomen stayed there, but didn't grow for like 7 years. It's the longest story about how I got fully better from that. We can share that in another webinar. But our environment matters. So deal with your environment. Now, if you love the people that you're living with, but their behaviour sucking the life out of you, sit down and deal with it with them. And you need to have that conversation with truth and authenticity and transparency. You don't sugarcoat it. And the way you do that, you sit up tall, look him in the eye, and just speak your truth. Relax your body, keep your tall posture, relax your body, and just speak your truth. And it's really about saying, look, you get up every morning and you're yelling at me and you're rushing me. It's stressing me out. I don't like that. Can we talk about how we're going to do that differently starting today? That's exactly how you're going to do it. And it's going to feel uncomfortable because all positive change feels uncomfortable at first. But we can choose to be comfortable doing the uncomfortable. And that's where the success lies. Now, the third part of building a life you get out of bed for is create a life that's big for you. Create some big goals, some big intentions. The thing about human beings is when we challenge ourselves with things that are hard to do over time, our brain gets bigger and healthier. Again, this is the universal God or nature, however you want to refer it, telling you you've got to get engaged in life. And you've got to challenge yourself. Do something super meaningful for you. It's going to take a long time to get there. And keep persisting every day. Because that meaningful thing you're working through will get you through tough times. So, I've had to reset myself many times last 7 years, often moving to other states and so on. But what's been consistent is this huge intention that I have for the world, which is share what's helped me with everyone so they can help themselves. And that's pumped me up for life. No matter what happens, I get up every day and I do something towards this goal. And I'm well into it. And it's got a long way to go, but I'm looking forward to that challenge. So I want to leave you with this. The life you want is possible and manifested by your daily choices, the way you think and the way you behave. Now, our behavior matters because it's our behavior that affects our feelings. Our feelings affect our thinking, and our thinking affects our perception of life. It all starts with behavior. So you're not depressed, you're feeling depressed. You're not anxious, you're feeling anxious. You're not unhealthy, you are currently experiencing an unhealthy state. The way you change these things is by consciously changing your behavior. Start with your body, and this is always my recommendation, is start with your body. If you start by building muscle, if you start by eating fresh real food, and you start by not snacking, those things change your entire biochemistry. They change your cells. Every morning you're boosting yourself with these confidence, feel-good hormones. And this body is your vehicle to express your life. So, and life is better expressed with a healthy, strong vehicle that's full of confidence, feel-good, calming, joyful hormones. And you control that. And then that's the start. Then you start to address the life that you want. So the life you want is within your control entirely, and you build a life you want, build a life that you look forward to get out of bed for, entirely comes by being engaged in life. I'm a dad. I'm also a friend to many people who I love in my life, and I'm helping out with their kids. I look forward to it. I look forward to every day because I express my life authentically. I do it with truth. I look after myself, and I'm engaged in my life. And I make sure that I'm in an environment that is full of people that are supportive, kind, open, and accepting of me and supportive of me. And now I create that environment by conscious effort. And by the way, life's lived in the moment. You've got to nurture these things daily. There's no static state in life. You're either moving forward or you're going backwards. Is how it works. And the best example of that is with muscle mass. Our muscle mass as a human being, as an adult, starts to break down after age 30. Now, muscle's an organ that's connected to all the other organs. If you don't look after it, it affects your mobility, it affects your insulin levels, your insulin sensitivity affects your glucose levels, it affects your energy cells, it affects your cognitive function. So you have to build muscle, and it's something you work on every day. It's not something you work on once a month and let it go. You've got to work on it every day as you age. If you don't work on it, you start to go backwards. That's the same with our life. The life that we live, that we want to get out of bed for every day, requires daily nurturing and conscious effort every day. So I hope this video has helped you guys out with getting some awareness of what you can do. I will say this: the best time to start anything is right now, because it's the only moment that exists and matters. And if you want to go in a different direction, stop, hit the reset button, let go of everything that's not going to help you in the direction you want to go in, and start to move in that direction. And how long it takes you to get there is completely irrelevant, because time will pass anyway. So when I was 39, I was completely disabled in a padded bed having epileptic fits in a hospital. I'm 48 now. I'll be 49 in September this year. If I hadn't done the work every day for the last almost 10 years to get to where I am, the same 10 years would have passed. But if I'd done nothing, I'd be a shell of a human that's basically on life support and not being able to engage in life, my friends and my kids. But because I chose to do something every day, I'm a high-performing, high-functioning human today that's enjoying a really fulfilling life. But it's taken a long time to get here. The time it takes is completely irrelevant, because the time will pass regardless. So you're better off doing something a little bit every day of a time, knowing that's contributing to a bigger goal, because at some point, all those little steps will compound, and that growth is exponential. It's boom, 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 and it goes straight up. But you need to start. Now, if you're interested in starting and you want some guidance on this, I've become very good at helping people with this over the last 7 years since I started doing this solely as part of my work. I've got a program. It's a great transformation program that takes you through step by step and integrates these new habits incrementally over 6 months, which means that you start with bite-sized new improvement, and over time you integrate new things, and in 6 months' time you've reinvented yourself and the way you approach life. If you're interested in doing something like that to help you get started, DM me or send me a smiley face, or I'm in, and we'll lock in a 30-minute chat over the next coming couple of weeks, and we'll see if I'm a right fit for you, and we can work well together. But nothing changes until you do, and the life you want is completely within your control and manifested entirely by your daily chosen behavior and your level of effort. And your behavior and effort is a choice. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening in. Wishing you a great day, and we'll speak when we speak. See you later.